what they say. I'm sure they're short and sweet, and we're going to see something completely crazy in them. The best 3 games we saved for last. That's what Group 22 is. And our first match is going to be Joan Bone 98 versus Silor in a Zerg versus Terran. Let's hop right into it. All right. In the bottom left of Polypoid, bottom right of Polypoid, we have our blue Zerg player, Ash Silor. And in the bottom left corner, we have our white Terran player, who in their replays, their name is Jonebone 98, but in game they are Polar Ice. I'm gonna put in there the CPL name they have. This is what the replay was labeled. This is what we're going by. We're professionals, damn it. Again, this is one of those weird matchups that doesn't have any Protoss in it, so if I get something wrong, I apologize. Ash Shiler went for an extractor trick into probably, I guess, an Overlord. So we're probably going to be seeing an Overpool from Silor. And Polar Ice is probably going to be doing standard Terran stuff, where they're going to be getting a bunch of barracks, a bunch of Marines, a bunch of medics, and trying to make it work. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not Overpool, it is Overlord into Hatchery. So 12 hatch. And I said Polar Ice. And Joan, I'm just going to say Polar Ice. It's what their in-game name is. Polar Ice hasn't even scouted yet, so they want to save that SCV mining time. It looks like they're just going to be going straight into a fast command center with no refinery, yeah, so we're just gonna be getting a command center right away. Again, I'm not sure if that is actually no, he's gonna go scout. Okay, but this, yeah, he is getting a command center with these resources. So, ooh, nice, almost, oh, amazing block on the drone there. It didn't even see the expansion being built, so you might think that there is a pressure coming and build the sunken colonies early. The Overlord doesn't fly into the main because, again, Marines can shoot up. I'm going to see how how Silor reacts to this. Usually you probably will see maybe 3 or 4 pairs of Zerglings built if you think there's aggression coming. But again, he really didn't get a good scout out, so he can't tell for sure. He's getting the creep colony down. Yeah, so he can defend against... if Polar Ice is going for an early attack, he will have that sunken colony there that should keep him safe. However, Polar Ice isn't going for an early attack. They are getting an expansion up. And they will be defended from these 2 Zerglings. Oh, one does get in. Pokes the Marine a little, the SCV a little bit, but ultimately doesn't accomplish a whole lot. Lair going down. Got 3 hatcheries. SCV goes the scout. The main gets taken out. So Polar Ice has no idea what is going on in this game. Okay. Academy and Engineering Bay are both going down, so Polar Ice should have turrets up in time for when the eventual Mutalisks come. Lair is just about finished, so the Spire will go down in any second. Maybe even this drone, or this drone. Maybe even that drone right there. That's our Spire drone. Look at him go. He has big dreams, big goals. He's going to let Sylar build Mutalisks. Meanwhile, Polar Ice is getting their Bio Army up. A couple of medics are going to be coming out, fielded to the stage. And then they'll be able to push out and really put the pressure on Sylar. They're going to need more than just one sunken colony to defend from this Marine force. Oh, big Zergling run by. Oh, the bunker is just slightly out of position. The Zerglings get a lot of SCV kills on the main thing. Oh, fire bats even are added to the mix. That's crazy. Don't see that too often. But, I mean, Sylar does actually have a lot of Zerglings, so the fire bats added in probably will give this army a lot of fighting sustainability against what Sylar has currently, especially once the medics catch up. However, we're about to see a lot of Mutalisks spawn. Spire's almost finished, and there's enough minerals for nearly 9 Mutalisks all at once. And that's probably what we're going to see. It looks like all hatcheries are fully loaded. Sylar's going to go for the home one. 9 Mutalisks on the way. Polar Ice has a brief moment of opportunity to hit this main base before the Mutalisks finish. However, with 3 sunken colonies defending it, it seems doubtful they'll be able to do anything, but they can shave off a couple Zerglings. He's going to go for it. But no, the Zerglings will come in, get cleaned up by the fire bats. The Mutalisks are going to come in. And when there's about as many Mutalisks as there are Marines, your bio's force is going to fall very quickly. Lurker aspect is started, so Sylar is not going to be getting too many Mutalisks, but with that huge bioforce downed, Sylar will have an opportunity to try and get some harassment done into the main base. Even with all these turrets here, Mutalisks take like 5 damage per turret shot, something ridiculous like that. So Sylar will be able to get plenty of harassment done. Oop. Bit of a miss micro there, leaves the Mutalisks in the turret range for a bit too long. They take a lot of damage, and the wounded one is going to have to go home, sad and ashamed. Mutalisks come in, swoop in, pick some Marines, and dive out before Sylar can get any real damage done. Or before Polar Ice can really put any real damage on the Mutalisks. They just keep diving in. limiting how many Marines the Polar Ice is able to get. Queen's Nest and Lurkers on the way. Siler is teching up, hard teching up on 2 bases. Third one just finished in the top right. Start populating it soon, but for the most part, Siler's really only on 2 bases. Polaris is getting up into science vessels, so that will really give them, you know, classic Terran stuff. You need the science vessels to be able to contend with Zerg late game, but Siler is a few steps ahead, already getting a bunch of Scourge, ready to pick the science vessels right out of the sky. Second engineering bay going down so that Polaris can get double upgrades going on his bio. Big drone transfer. Another diving by the Mutalisks. Looks like they caught an SCV. Other than that, wow. Isn't quite able to one-shot the SCVs yet. However, big push out by Polar Ice. Just ready to walk across the map and try to deal out some punishment. Mules try to engage into behind them, but fly into heavy gunfire, and we're down to 6 Mutalisks. Siler's hard tech into Lurkers should keep them relatively safe, but the Defilers are still a ways away. Dark Swarm is even farther away. This is a very scary Marine force. Especially since there really isn't enough Mutalisks to try and pressure the Marines from just walking across the map and doing whatever they want. Of course, this base does look pretty much defended. 4 Lurkers on a ramp is impossible for Marines to fight without a bunch of science vessels. Oh. Medic gets picked at, doesn't get killed, Mutalisk goes down. Siege tanks come in to help the push. Be very useful against Lurkers, since you can just hit the Siege tank outranges Lurkers even out of siege mode. So it can be very useful to just come up and poke at the Lurkers, try and force them to reposition themselves. Scourge come up. The science vessel is out in the open, but yeah, unfortunately pulls the trigger on the attack a bit too soon, and the Scourge are able to fly away. Position for the science vessel is a bit better now. The siege tank is just going to start taking pot shots at the Nidus Canal. They should be able to take it, even with the reinforcing Zerglings. It just runs back to the Marine covering fire. Alright, Scourge try to fly in to find something. They find nothing. Meanwhile, up at the top right, Siler does finally have the Defiler up. However, I believe the Nidus Canal that connected the 2 bases did just die, and the Lurkers that cover the front are falling. Dark Swarm goes down right on top of the siege tank as the Zerglings try to come up and push it back. However, huge stim push comes in. Dark Swarm does not work on buildings. Even if it did, there is no Dark Swarm here. And the sunken colony should fall fairly quickly. Again, oh, Dark Swarm goes down, protects both of these Lurkers, and forces the Terran to move back. Irradiate on the on the Defiler. It doesn't look okay. There is one more left still, so Terran is going to have a hard time pushing through. Looks like the Irradiate was put on the Lurkers. Just science vessels are extremely good. Reinforcements on the way to replenish all the Marines that have been lost so far. Huge Zergling flank is also getting into position. However, I think Polar Ice has set up a very strong offensive and is only just moments away from being able to push into the natural and clear it. Oop, tank barely overextended, took a hit. But the lurker will fall, and that is the only lurker left defending this base. Okay, Filer once again irradiated. Darkstorm goes down. It's a bit out of position. There's no lurkers to sit under there, and the Marines will be able to just run right into the natural and get all of these drones. I see a lot of pops there. Meanwhile, a Zerling counterattack into the main, but Marines will take care of it, clean it very shortly. The natural is going to fall. Looks like the Hydralisk Den is going to fall, and this Evolution Chamber. Ultralisk Cavern is about to replace the Hydralisk Den, but without lurkers, Zerg is going to have a very hard time defending their various bases. There's an insane amount of science vessels. 6 science vessels. That is a lot of free irradiates. Even though there's 3 defilers here, they should be able to irradiate them all pretty easily. Even flying off into the main. Marines are on 1-2 upgrades, so they're getting pretty beefy. The irradiate goes down, and the defiler even eats the other defilers just for free energy. But ultimately will also die. Polar Ice is really committing to this attack, and all Silo can do is sort of build Zerglings. 3 Ultralisks are on the way, but with how many Marines there are, it's doubtful that it will actually be able to stop the attack before... actually, hold on. A lot of the Bioforce is caught out of position. The Zerglings are kind of just shooting at their own medics. Lurkers get under the cloud, but again, we have a lot of irradiates available on these science vessels. That'll slowly tick down their health. So even when the Ultralisks come out, there's just so many irradiates that Polar Ice will just be able to tick away and tax their health for pretty much the entire game, as it looks like... Oh, and Sylar just leaves as Polar Ice gets into the main base and starts destroying all of the tech structures. So game 1 will go to Polar Ice, aka Jonebone 98, according to, I guess, the CPL record. Our next match is going to be Jonebone 98 versus Will. I believe Will played in the RSL, I think. They were in one of the tournaments. Played Zerg, so we're going to get ready for another TVZ. See if Jonebone 98, aka Polar Ice, is going to be able to pull off the same thing and win both of the win both of the TVZs in their bracket, or if Will is going to be able to overcome and wreck them. All right. Oh wait, no, hold on. Let me go up. In the bottom right corner, we have Polar Ice, aka Jonebone 98 in the replay name, playing as the pink Terran, versus D-Will in the top left, playing as the dark green Zerg. Polaris played a pretty clean TVZ in the first match, so I mean, yeah, they just executed really well. Their push out was really good. I don't think I think Silor just didn't get the damage with the mutas that they wanted to. So we'll see if D-Will is how they approach how they approach the matchup differently. See if that changes up Polar Ice's play any, or if it taxes him a little bit more. Just in general. This last game was just a pretty solid story of, yep, that's how you play Terran versus Zerg, and you execute it well, and you win. And we'll see if anything tricky happens, or if we just have a repeat of that, where we just execute super standard game, and then one player over time just does a couple of things better. 12 hatch here for D-Will. Drone goes out to scout, just to see what's going on. Won't find anything though, as it's going to have to go into the corner and then across the map. Looks like a very similar thing to game 1, where we're just going to get up to about 18-19 supply and get the, or I guess the command center will be on around 20-ish supply. Drone gets in the scout. It actually will see what's going on. Oh, no, it's going to run away and live. So I guess it's kind of a denied scout, similar to our last game. Polar Ice gets their command center up. Still haven't sent anything out to scout for the base. And yeah, Polar Ice is completely in the dark. They seem to be okay with that. They just are going to probably get their bunker up and play very defensively. Oh, second barracks going down. This game D-Will also just getting a couple of Zerglings. Finally, the SCV goes out to scout. Looks like he's going up, so he probably won't. Again, I don't think he's going to get intercepted by the Zerglings, which are just going to run straight across. See that Polar Ice is starting an expansion and not much else, and probably just get shot at and die. Yeah, Polar Ice isn't even getting a bunker this game. They're just full on having some Marines here. Zergling runs in, runs out. Sees that there's a lot of Marines getting burrow. So that is interesting. Burrow's one of those fancy spells where you don't really ever see it except for like that one ASL game where a pro wins because they research Burrow and are doing weird things with it. I mean, there is no detection here for Polar Ice yet, so it could be good. But just in general, yeah, the bunker is finally going down, but that is a lot of Zerglings flooding across the map. D-Will sacrificed a lot of economy to get these Zerglings. He's 14 workers behind. He's going to try to hop on into here. Burrow is completed, but it looks like just a lot of Zerglings are going to be completely cleared up. Doesn't get any damage done. He's going to keep committing. D-Will GG's. Sometimes the Zergling rush fails, and I guess you leave the game. So Polar Ice, the TVZ god, wins? That's odd. Well, I guess we'll just go to our third game. Sylar versus Zergling, which since we know Sylar is a Zerg, it sounds like we're going to be looking at a ZVZ. I lied. Zergling is actually a Protoss. I feel like that's false advertisement. But this will be our final match of Group 22. Again, we only had the 3 replays, but this will also be our final match of the CPL cast for today. So hopefully it's really good. Oh, stream. Alright. In the... Oh, well, we have to change both names. In the bottom left corner, we have Zergling playing as the very light yellow Protoss. And in the bottom right corner, we have Ash Sylor playing as the dark blue Zerg. Scouting in the incorrect direction. Dang it, Sylor. Actually, no, do you always scout vertically on this map? I'm pretty sure you're supposed to scout counterclockwise on Polypoid with your Overlord. But again, I'm not a Zerg main, so I don't know. Zergling readying their wall for their expansion, and Sylor looks like, I guess, an Overpool? Very strong as Protoss. Nope. Yep, Overpool. I was thinking it might have been a 12 hatch, but there we go. Forge first from Zergling, so the safer of the 2 possible variations of this build. As the Overlord continues to march across the map. Alright, I think, yep, that drone is going out to scout. I'm guessing he's going to be running cross spawn since the Overlord is already headed this direction. Looks like Zergling is playing very carefully and getting their cannon before their Nexus. Okay, the drone is actually going to be running across to scout into this base. Sees the Forge, turns back, Zergling gets their Nexus up. 1 pair of Zergling prepared, just to keep the Protoss honest, and to maybe chase the probe out if needed be. And there's first expansion and the second expansion. So Zergy stuff, the probe is going to try to get up into the main, but 2 Zerglings will block it. This is always Yep. Okay, it's trying to bait them out of position, but these are hold position workers, so... Oh, no. Did I say hold position? Did I accidentally almost call Zerglings hold position lurkers? No, they're just on hold position. That space looks wide enough for a probe to skedaddle through. But it's just gonna keep running around. Gas mine has started, and Overlord... And that probe just isn't going to die, huh? Second one goes out, ready to get the scout. Lair started, no Zergling speed, so... Zelt's gonna come on out, pressure the Zerglings back a little bit, Just keep them out of the base. Some pretty good pull away micro from Sylar. Keeps his, their Zerglings alive. And soon we'll see either the Hydralisk Den or the Spire start fairly soon. I'm guessing it's the Spire. Am I really getting quieter? Oh no. Hold on. Listen, after 6 hours of casting, you just naturally your voice gets away from you. Alright, I'll just boost the volume up a little bit. Hopefully that'll help. Let's see. No, don't hurt your voice. It's okay. Alright. Am I locked on that? Yes. Okay, Zealot's starting to move out, and they should be able to pressure. Oh my gosh. Sylar tosses out the please pause. Hearing something out. Circling with the opponent's dog strats, throwing Sylar off their game just as they move out with a bunch of Zealots. But that is a lot of Zerglings coming up, and it seems like Sylar is pretty much going into Spire. Okay, there's the Hydralisk Den. Finally, move out their Zerglings, get a surround on. Oh, get a sort of a surround on a Zealot. Man, Brood War units, they are slippery. Yeah. +1 air weapons from Zergling coming in. Double Stargate, you'll love to see it. Gets a lot of Corsairs to come out. 3 already coming across and nuking some Overlords. It is very weird how this color of Protoss basically makes it look like the Corsairs don't have any like markings on them. Yeah, they just get completely across. There's some Scourge coming out, so they will be able to start picking off Corsairs. However, not before even more Overlords die. Yeah, so the Scourge will connect, take out a Corsair, but I mean that was only one. If Zergling wanted to, they could stick around and kill a bunch more Overlords because Sylar is very supply blocked. Their Corsair production is stalled a little bit as they're getting into Templar tech to try and prepare for the Hydra attack that was extremely stalled by the Corsair harassment. Yeah. They do look like croissants. Okay, Scourge comes out, just gets into position to maybe catch any roaming Corsairs, but now that the Spore Colonies and Hydralisks are starting to pop, the central Overlord clusters should be fairly well protected from the Corsair harassment. Yeah, I'm not so sure about this. Having 2 Stargates, but then only getting a handful of Corsairs, I feel like if you're going to get 2 Stargates, you really should just dedicate to the Corsairs, get like 20 of them and commit to kill. I mean, you actually know he's forced a huge overcommitment of Scourge. Like, that is way too many Scourge. I don't know if Sylar saw that it was double Stargate. Which, if they did, then it makes sense that they're like, oh, hey, I need a lot of Scourge. But with only, like, 5 Corsair, I don't think you need this many Scourge. And honestly, it seems like pretty good for Circling in that case. Ooh, a lot of Scourge blow up. Oh man. Yeah, +1 Corsairs do melt Scourge, so yeah. Don't know if that was the play. They go in and melt an Overlord. Try to get a couple more, but between the Hydralisks and if they go in any further, they'd be up against a Spore Colony. It looks like they aren't going to be able to get that much more damage done. Oh, Zealots catch some Hydralisks out in the open. That's very useful. It thins the numbers a little bit from the attack the main base. And alright. Now for the moment of truth. Yeah, Circling should probably hold this. They have Storm, like they have a, they have a Templar, they have Storm out. They should be feeling pretty comfortable about holding a relatively very small amount of Hydralisks. Corsairs try to retreat back to base, get caught by the Hyrule stationed outside. It sounded like he sniped a High Templar without a storm going on, in which case that is very unfortunate. Okay, Overlord's moving up to protect the Hydralisks from the Dark Templar, or at least to allow them to fight. And it looks like the Corsairs are going to get aggroed and destroyed. It's a good thing you have 2 Stargates. The Templar move forward. It doesn't look like either of them have storms ready. The ones that do are lagging a bit behind. Time to see some very powerful storms. That one scares the Hydralisks away. Looks like that one almost gets sniped. Their storm goes down. Doesn't really hit critical mass of Hydras. And Sylor is just doing fine. A lot of Hydralisks on patrol move to prevent any drops or more Corsair harassment from hitting in the main base. And more reinforcements are coming in. That was a good storm. More reinforcements are coming in to try and put pressure on the front of Circling's base as Circling is trying to get their own 3rd base established. Overlords rally a bit awkwardly, but the final Corsair is probably going to get picked off right there. Now the Hydralisks just need to move forward, try to get some good. A very nice storm catches a lot of Hydralisks off guard, but now the Lurkers are coming up, and I don't think Circling has a Robo Bay anywhere. No, wait, no, they have an observatory. Never mind. Just don't seem to have any observers out, so it may be a while before they're able to contend with the Lurkers. They're also going to need Dragoons with range to really effectively fight them. Yeah. Otherwise, Sylor has a very effective, just a very convincing contain on Circling. They're getting their 4th base in the top left corner there. So they are just really pushing their advantage. They're ahead, they're getting more ahead. Some Zealots are going to try to wiggle their way out, maybe go through this 3rd base to try and get to the main. Instead, they're going to aggro on some Lurkers, get torn apart. Looks like a lot of High Templar are going to fall as well. A storm goes down. Sylor picks off the Observer, which is extremely good, completely eliminating Circling's army. And with the Zealot count lowered and the High Templar count also lowered, oh man, sacrificed a lot of that High Templar was not going without a fight. It looks like Sylor is going to be taking a very large lead here. They're also taking the opportunity where they've cleared most of the Corsairs. They're getting a couple of Mutalisks to switch in, which can be effective in helping pick off High Templar or just dealing some extra damage to the Zealots. Huge storm there, weakens a lot of Hydralisks. Once the Zealots get in, they're going to pop very quickly. Another great storm there, gets rid of the Lurkers and even gets an Overlord, so I don't see that every day. Still a very healthy amount of Hydralisks up here to fight. But a lot of these Lurkers out of position and not helping the Hydralisks fight the Zealots, because Zealots will tear through Hydralisks very quickly without Lurker support. Another fairly large fight here. Again, Sylar really needs to bring these Lurkers up, but otherwise they are doing it. They're just limiting the amount of Zealots that Surging's able to field. Honestly, with the base advantage that Sylar has, even taking bad trades is still probably good for them, but they could be taking much better trades by bringing up all these rear line Lurkers. Especially while they have the Hydralisks to help defend the Lurkers from the Dragoons. Back at home, Sylar, I mean, yeah, they're just getting some Mutalisks. They're getting a smorgasbord of Zerg units ready to try and fight the Protoss. Surgling is just getting some upgrades. Doesn't look like they've done anything else tech-wise. They're just trying to struggle and get into a good position with their units. They've done a pretty good job of upgrading. They're about to be on 3-2, while Sylar is only going to be on 2-2, so Protoss is getting a very high upgrade advantage in this. Some Hydras are roaming out on the map just to make sure Surgling doesn't sneak a probe out some way, hit an expansion that he won't know about. Oh, Muta's in the main, going for the robotics facility. It looks like they might be able to. They probably aren't going to be able to get it. The High Templar should be able to get back there in time, cast a single storm, and clean it up. But they do distract Surging for a little bit. Surging moves further up to try and buy some more space, and the few pockets of Hydras that really are just meant to catch probes will fall quickly to the overwhelming Protoss army. And Surgling is now getting in a very good position where their army is just like stronger. Sylar is a bit too spread out. Like the Hydralisks are fighting alone in small groups, while Surgling is doing a great job of keeping his forces together and picking off the pockets of Lurkers away from like the main forces. Yeah. So Surgling definitely has the space to take their third. Sylar is going to try to reinforce, but there's a healthy, there's one High Templar with the army that can help weaken up the Hydralisks. Actually, there aren't that many Zealots with this army, so the Dragoons will fall extremely quickly. And it looks like the storm actually does go down. Unfortunately, it really just kills Surgling's own observers. A hasty storm in the middle of nowhere doesn't help at all, and Surgling's main army is cleaned up by the Hydralisk swarm. Yeah, it's looking like if this Hydralisk army, it looks like it can just really just march over and kill this base. And if it does that, that would really just be the nail in the coffin for Surgling, who would only have really one active mining base, and even then, it's almost gone as well. Surgling is really only on 1.5 mining bases, while Sylar, because they're Zerg, they still get to keep. They're still at technically 4. Okay, Storm went down way up there, weakens a lot of the Hydras and does take them out. The cannons are putting in a lot of work, and probably they won't save the base, but Siler has to dedicate a lot of Hydras to doing the job. Unfortunately for Surgling, as more Hydralisk reinforcements filter in, this Nexus will go down, and Surgling is going to have they're going to have a hard time getting the resources to really reinforce everything. Yeah. Yep. You can see Zergling attack speed and just a lot of different upgrades going on for Zerg right now, while Zergling is stuck trying to remake their third base. Zerglings with attack speed will tear through absolutely everything. An amazing storm just goes ahead and kills all the Zergling reinforcements, as Siler is going to try and just flood them with Zerglings, which can be very effective. Alright. Fortunately, it seems like Siler doesn't quite have the third Carapace upgrade yet, so the Zealots are still two-shotting the Zerglings. But with the Hydralisk reinforcements, they take out an Archon. They'll be able to... Neither of the Templar have storms on them. Oh wait, no, the reinforcement ones do. So the base will survive, but only barely. As Siler is bringing their overwhelming economic might. Nearly double the workers. And almost, technically, really twice the mining. Well, actually, no. One mining base to, like, 5? Yeah, it's not looking great for Surgling. Siler getting into Ultralisk Caverns after already upgrading all of, like, the Defiler abilities. Not even getting a Defiler. Oh no, there is one. Plague on the way. Storm goes down. Once again, saves, clears up some things, some Hydras. As Surgling is finally starting to run out of resources. They only have one mining base. They're trying to keep 9 gateways active. Just isn't working out in their favor. I mean, one more giant push from Siler, even with all the units they have, they should be able to topple Surgling's army. Just, we'll see. However, you know, the longer they take to attack... Nope, Surgling kind of thinks about it for a second. GG's out of the game. Yeah, that's a tough spot. Siler's like, I'm gonna go attack him anyways. You might not have noticed that Surgling had left the game, but it's interesting because the longer Siler waited to attack, the more energy the High Templar would have, and the stronger they would be able to defend against pure like Hydralisk and Lurker. But Siler did just have an economic advantage where they could take a bunch of bad trades and just win the game. Yeah. How long does this go? Really? Okay, well, yeah, Siler wins the third game, and that is our replays for for the Group 22 of our Week 1 CPL preseason.